So I told you guys I was going to go ahead and give you guys a first impressions of the Elder Scrolls Online, what I feel about the game, how it's playing so far for me, and just what I think of my personal experience in the game so far. So without further ado, here's what I think about the Elder Scrolls Online. Okay, now here with the Elder Scrolls Online, I have a lot of issues, with, some high praises as well. And I guess I'll just start with the high praises because the combat in this game, it's phenomenal. Because it honestly feels like you're actually fighting, like, as compared to most other MMOs, where you're just pressing a number and doing the ability. You feel like there's more weight behind your strikes in this game because you're, I guess, using the mouse. And if you're in first person, you're literally not necessarily choosing the angle of which you're attacking, but you maneuver around the person, whatnot, or your enemy, and you slice at them and stuff like that. And there's a big emphasis on you need to either block incoming attacks, interrupt huge attacks, or you need to dodge attacks in which you can't interrupt or block, I guess. And there's a huge emphasis on that. And there's also a huge emphasis on strong attacks where you hold down your mouse button and you slice down on someone and it brings them to the floor, which is fantastic. Well, I guess given the proper context, like let's say you block someone and then you do your heavy attack and you bring them straight to the ground, and that just feels fantastic. Like, I love the way that feels. I wish more games, or I guess MMOs, did that. The Star Wars The Old Republic did that. They had more of a dynamic fighting gameplay, because they do that so well. But then behind all the great gameplay, you get into the terrible story experience. Like, this is supposed to be an Elder Scrolls game, and I'm not saying, like, okay, I'm expecting something on the terms of Skyrim, but I'm at least expecting to care about why I'm playing the game. Other than, like, the great gameplay, there's really no reason, as of right now at least, that I'm doing all this stuff. Like, the prologue was fantastic. They gave me a great reason as to why I need to get out of there, because obviously you're trapped, you're a prisoner, there's a revolt going on, because everybody's souls got trapped there, and you need to get out. And, like, in the entire experience of trying to get out of there, you give someone up, the person who came and unlocked your cell and helped you get out of there, you give them up in order to bring out this prophet, who's supposedly, I don't know, like, he's supposedly really important to the story. And from what I've experienced so far, and yes, I've experienced at least one of the story missions, there really isn't any story there. Like, you get back into the real world after going through so many trials, not necessarily so many trials, but after fighting your way out of that prison, and going back to the real world, you get back there and you go, okay, so the prophet's like, okay, we got separated, do your own thing, just go do your own thing, go live your life, go talk to people, do their stuff. Or I guess technically he says, that's all up to you, you do what you want to do. I'll talk to you when I'm ready. That's really what he's really saying. He's just like, okay, we're separated. There's no reason to do anything. That's really all I've got for that, or I've gotten from that. And, God, it just bugs the crap out of me because they have such a great opportunity there to set up a fantastic story, because the entire story is, from what someone said in the comment section, someone told me, okay, the story's more so that you need to get back your humanity. There's a part of you missing, technically, that only helping these people could satisfy, I guess, or fill. I don't know necessarily what they said, or exactly the meaning behind what they said, but you need to do these things before you go fight the main guy, obviously, and kind of save Tamriel from the Daedric. And, that's a great story. On pen and paper, that's a fantastic story. Well, not fantastic, but that's a admirable story as to why I'm going in and just doing these things for these people. And when you look at it, there's 3 other packs, and each of them kind of don't really agree with each other. So you're kind of choosing a pact in which you want to rely on these guys behind their army and whatnot. And I don't know later on or not if they all come together, if it's kind of like a Guild Wars thing, because I think they do that in Guild Wars too. But it's like, okay, so I get into the world, you talk to one person that saved you, and you go somewhere, you do some things, and, like, there was a point in the beginning where I actually cared about what was going on. Like, I talked to the lady who rescued me out of the ocean or whatever, and she brought me to this other island, and I was going ahead and doing these quests for these people, and then all of a sudden the city got stormed, and I was like, okay, well, if this person saved my life, I need to go in there and help everybody else. I gotta repay the debt I owe, technically, and save this city. And you weren't able to save the city, but you were able to save a lot of the citizens and whatnot, evacuate them to a new place. And then once you evacuated them to the new place, it's like, okay, you've evacuated them. Congratulations, there's no reason to do anything else. And then I go back into the main city and do that kind of quest. Like, each of these cities have these kind of quests where they're under siege and you need to be the person to save them. And, like, that's great. That's the world story. But that's not the main story to the game. And then you get into the main story, and I've done at least one quest. I'm only a level 7 at the time of, this recording, but I did one of the quests, and not only did the prophet specifically tell me, meet me here, so I go in there, he's not there, but there's no explanation as to why he's not there, at least not that I noticed. There's no explanation there, and I was like, okay, and in the video, in episode 7, I think, the part 7 of the walkthrough, I give this game a ton of crap, and this is after this episode, like an hour or two after this episode, or after that episode, but I give it a ton of crap because I go in there, I'm doing the story quest, but all I've really accomplished is killing some NPCs, because they think they're gonna save the land, in which case they didn't do crap. And there was really no reason, like no rhyme or reason as to why I grabbed this stupid helmet and let people sacrifice their lives, because I didn't see a change in the scenery at all, which I guess the Elder Scrolls Online kind of rolls off of a phase-based system where you you save someone, you save a city, but the city's under siege, so you see some broken buildings, stuff of that nature. But when you do this story quest, not only is there no change, but you feel like, okay, so I just let these people die. But there's, like, you don't feel bad about it, really, because they're like, okay, they sacrificed their lives, no big deal, I don't really care. And that's just what I feel about the entire story. Like, the gameplay, phenomenal. I love the gameplay. There's some abilities. Some people complain about how many abilities you have. You can actually switch those out. And you have a choice on how you want to play the game. Like, instead of having specific set class roles, you can have... you can dual wield swords. You can dual wield knives. You can mace and sword, shield and mace, shield and sword, or sword and shield, great sword, bow, and there's no class behind it. You get to choose whether or not you want to specify specialize in your light armor usage, your medium armor usage, your heavy armor usage, what weapons you specialize in, but at the same time, you can always continue to change up everything and level up on that stuff. And I think that idea is phenomenal. And the gameplay, like I've said multiple times, is phenomenal, except for the questing. Like, it's a little overwhelming. There's so many quests there, and you don't really necessarily have a good rhyme or like a good reason as to why you're gonna do it. But like I said, the gameplay, I love the gameplay, and I will never stop giving like extremely high regards to the change in the MMO formula as far as the gameplay goes. At least on a higher scale, because there's what are they called? There are games like that, where you have more of a dynamic fighting style and stuff like that. But they've never really brought it to a super big MMO. I know Vindictus is kind of like that. But wasn't a big fan of Vindictus. But it's not a super open world. You just kind of go into segments and fight, like Warframe and stuff like that. So I give high regards to the Elder Scrolls Online for doing that. They finally dropped their subscription fee, which was a big reason behind why I picked the game back up and started playing it again. But at the end of the day, the huge Tamriel Unlimited changes aren't really there, Sure, they have some different gameplay changes, but the story never improved. And at the end of the day, you're playing a game to get a great storytelling experience, to create your own story within the story, especially in the Elder Scrolls, because you go into all these games like Oblivion. I'm not going to speak for Morrowind, but I guess I could at the same time. So like Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, you make your own stories within the greater story. Like the greater story in these games, the main story isn't the big reason why you're doing it. It's super big, expansive world, and you want to go ahead and put yourself into it, as well as become a driving force for certain factions and things like that, and the increase of stuff. And then there's also the main story, which is usually really well scripted and stuff of that nature. And then you get into this game, and they still have the kind of expansive world where you kind of want to go ahead and put yourself into it, but you at the same time it's going to be a lot longer than any of the other games. But then the story is just not there. There's really no reason as to why you're doing it. And I guess that's where I stand on that. As of right now, I'm not impressed with the story. I actually don't. I'm almost convinced there's not a story there, from what I've experienced. And like I said, I haven't played through the entire game. I'm only level 7. My highest level character was a level 11, and I never really got that far in the story. But that could very well change later on. But for my first impressions, in quotation marks, it's not great. The story isn't that great, but the gameplay is absolutely amazing. So, I guess that concludes that. So thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like if you didn't subscribe, if you have not subscribed already. If you guys don't necessarily agree with what I have to say, just let me know down in the comment section below. Give me your reasons why you think the story is great or whatever. I'm sure someone will. And we'll have a nice friend, not necessarily me and you guys, but let's keep the comment section civil, and I might reply to some of you guys, and if you guys bring up good points, and we'll discuss them as adults here. But yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching yet again, and I will see you all in the next video.